Hello, welcome to the tutorial walkthrough of my Storytime instructional. This will be a short overview of my program in which I will give a Storytime tutorial for potential library branch employees interested in expanding their storytelling skills. This instructional design is important to new children's librarians or employees who want a refresher in Storytime. There is much more than just telling a story, and a participant will learn creativity, performance, and interaction, both physical and through communication. The goal is to expand the learner's idea of what a story time should incorporate and to build their own story time. This will be achieved through examples of story times by the instructor and other librarians or employees taking the program. The goal is measured by the peer reviews of others and if the participant can adjust their presentation style to the suggestions of others as well. An overview of the program being given will include a checklist of how to properly introduce and run a story time, the introduction of a book, cover, and title, how to engage the children in conversation throughout by asking for predictions, questions, point out pictures, and ask for opinions. Review the story with the children afterwards, how to introduce a game or activity related to a reading. Here is an example video of a story time given by myself and like the one a participant will be making for themselves in the program. Please feel free to watch. The Zoom meeting. A module of learning will need to be accessed by each student in which they will have to watch a video lecture, participate in a group discussion, upload their own story time video project, and provide feedback to multiple other participants. The first synchronous Zoom session will last about an hour, with the second synchronous follow-up Zoom session lasting between 1 to 2 hours, depending on how many participants will be sharing their videos, time for feedback, etc. I will be giving the participants of the course 2 weeks to go over the materials and shoot their storytime videos before they present them in the second Zoom session. A handout will be provided with samples of the lecture and a follow-up of examples for story time. Here are some of the examples of how the participants will be learning to outline their own story time. This will all be provided in the Zoom lecture and subsequent handout. These are some example outlines, like a story time checklist of how to introduce a song, literacy tip, book that you'll be reading, activity or demonstration you'll be doing, song, and a goodbye song. The Zoom chat. The tools I'll be using is the chat-based option via Zoom when it comes to questions from the first group meetup. This Zoom will be an introduction to the class of what a story time should look like, how it should flow, and what the tone should be. Throughout this live Zoom, participants will have the opportunity to use the chat window to ask any questions they might have about the material or about the project they'll be working on. In the second and the last Zoom, the chat feature will be used again for audience feedback when it comes to watching the individual story time. This has been an overview of what you and your branch will get out of this tutorial. After going through the course and seeing an example of a storytime video, the participants will submit their own video using the tools and knowledge they have learned in the course. There is no grade, but feedback from the other participants will allow for the employees to see the effectiveness of the course and leave them with the understanding of this step-by-step tutorial of how to run a story time, how to engage an audience when reading aloud, and how their follow-up activity will academically enrich a child. Thank you.